Hey everyone, you're watching Music is a Journey. I'm Peter Scove. I thought I would try to do a short video. I'm not very good at doing that. Every time I think I'm going to do it in about 10 minutes, it ends up being over 20. So let's see if I can speed things up a little bit this time. I am going to talk about 5 bands that I found out about because I heard them on the radio. And just so you know, we're going back to the 1980s here. Now, of course, I heard a lot of music on the radio. I used to listen to CFOX, Vancouver's home of rock. I think that's what they used to call it anyway. I don't know what it's called now. But that was the best rock station. We also had CFMI 101, which was a classic rock station. That was also pretty good too. But CFOX had a nice blend of playing the old classic stuff as well as a lot of new stuff coming out. And they also had the Monday Night Metal show, I think is what it was called. It was actually produced somewhere, I think, in the States, probably California. But they featured that on Monday nights. So during the 1983, 1984, I certainly was listening to that as often as I could. So here are 5 bands where I heard the song on the radio, and that was my introduction to the band. And when I heard that song, I thought, who the heck are these guys? I've got to get their stuff. Okay, so let's take a look here. First up, the one that I remember the most and had the biggest impact, this is YNT and their album Mean Streak. And of course the title track, Mean Streak, is the song I heard on the radio. And man, what a cool song that was. I guess you would call it metal for 1983. It's probably more like hard rock now, or really heavy hard rock. But just what a great guitar riff this song opens with, and this is just a really cool song. At the time, I was eager to just hear anything that I hadn't heard about yet. My cassette collection probably had a dozen bands in at the most. And so hearing about YNT, when nobody in my high school seemed to know anything about them, I thought, this is great. I'm now tapping into stuff that is outside of the range of the people I'm, around. And I've been a YNT fan ever since. Actually, earlier this year, I think I've picked up all of the albums I didn't have except the debut album. It's the only one I don't have yet now, when they were Yesterday and Today. But yeah, a YNT, loved it. And yeah, one of those great bands that just didn't make it into the really, really big time, even though they were super cool. Tim Derlington published a book, I think it was at the beginning of this year, where he interviewed other people and they all talked about different YNT albums, and he put that book together with everybody expressing their ideas or background stories or whatever. I really wanted to get it, but it seems every time I get a little extra money, I end up buying more CDs rather than a book. And actually, not really extra money. Oh, I think I have extra money. Okay, so next, this is Krokus, and this is actually not the album with the song that I heard. The song that I first heard was called Tonight Long Stick Goes Boom. At this point, I was still very much an AC/DC fan. I had most of the Bon Scott era albums, and of course Back in Black, for those about to rock. Probably Flick of the Switch had come out at the time. AC/DC, yeah, really big. And I heard Tonight Long Stick Goes Boom, and I just thought, I don't know this AC/DC song, because it really did sound an awful lot like AC/DC. And in fact, not long ago, I watched, I think it was a talk about Krokus on Grant's Rock Warehouse YouTube channel, and he was talking with 3 other people about Krokus, and 2 of them said Tonight Long Stick Goes Boom was their first song that they heard of Krokus, and they also thought it was AC/DC. Now, funny thing is, I've actually never owned the album with that song, because when I decided I had to get a Krokus album, I ended up getting Headhunter instead. I don't remember why, but anyway, yeah, Headhunter. I actually don't have a lot of Krokus albums. I think I only have 2. But yeah, that one with Tonight Long Stick Goes Boom is one of the ones that I've always been meaning to get. In fact, I think there are 2 or 3 Krokus albums from the early 80s I would still really like to get. So yeah, weird. The song that got me interested in the band, I've actually never owned in my collection. Now, every once in a while, CFOX would put on something really surprising, and one day I heard a song called The Witch from 1964. And man, was that ever a pretty heavy sounding song. Had this mean 2-chord riff. It sounded kind of dark. It's like that 60s proto-punk sound, but it was a little bit darker than what you would normally get. And yeah, that introduced me to the Sonics, who are actually from Tacoma, just like around the Seattle area, named the Sonics because Boeing has its airplane building spot. Airplane factory, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so the Sonics, of course, a famous garage rock band from the 1960s, and their earlier stuff is the really cool stuff. A lot of straight up early classic rock and roll, but just really done over the top with shouted vocals and very loud music. Lots of distorted guitar created by slashing up speaker cones and kicking amplifiers around, whatever they did. And aside from The Witch, I also really love their cover of Louie Louie, which has just this really mean and demented sounding guitar solo, and it's mostly just bending the same string over and over, but the way it's done is really cool. And another song called He's Waiting, which is, you know, about the old cheating girlfriend that so many garage rock songs were about, but he's waiting. He is Satan. They mention that, and this is going back to 65, 66. So anyway, The Witch by the Sonics. Heard that and thought I've got to find out about this band, the Sonics. Okay, I don't remember when it was I heard this. At one point, anyway, I was working at a warehouse. I was working at a warehouse in Canada for several years, and then I left to come to Japan. And when I went back to Canada for a year and to do some traveling and just catch up, you know, with people and family, I thought, okay, I'll try to go back to my old job. And I think it was during that time, then probably 2005, I heard a song called Work by Jimmy Eat World, and I really loved that song. It was just so catchy. I loved the vocal melodies. Yeah, great hook. Loved it. So I bought the album, and I don't listen to this album much, but it has a lot of really great songs on here. Drugs Are Me, I remember 23. Yeah, Futures. I don't know. I think this is a really good album. But it's one of those bands where I bought the album, really liked it, and then I just never felt like I would needed to get another album. I think at one point, a few years back, I actually put 2 or 3 of their other albums in my shopping cart at Amazon, and then they floundered around for a while, and finally I removed them again. But I don't know. Are any of their other albums really, really good? Not sure, but I liked this one here, and that was because of the track Work, also from Seafox. Okay, actually there's one other band. I don't have any of their CDs, but I had the cassette in the 80s, and that is Great White. And I remember probably on the Monday Night Metal show hearing the song Stick It from Great White's full-length debut album, self-titled. And I liked it so much, I bought the album, and I really liked the album. They had a great cover of Substitute, originally by The Who. I saw them open for Judas Priest on the Defenders of the Faith tour, and I remember the lead singer introducing the song Stick It and talking about if you've got people who are giving you a hard time, like your boss at work or a teacher at school or whatever, and you just had enough of their crap, whatever, you tell them to stick it, right? And then they started the song. Seems that a lot of those kind of like LA-based or California-based metal, hard rock, glam metal type bands of the mid 80s had this message in a lot of the music, like Motley Crue's "Shout at the Devil." "Shout at the Devil" was not necessarily Satan, but just anyone who is making your life miserable and you know, piling a whole bunch of crap on you, shout back at them. So yeah, those were 5 bands that I got into because of hearing one song on the radio, and when I heard it, I just thought, I've got to get that band. And yeah, I actually do have to get some Great White CDs eventually. Again, Great White is something they go into my Amazon shopping cart, they go on standby for a while, and after a couple of years I clean them out, but I do intend to get a couple of Great White albums again someday. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Catch you in another video. Take care, and ciao.